Alright, today we're back on the Galant Coupe and it's time to get into the rust. So this is the worst bit. This is the passenger side rear quarter and it's pretty nasty. There's this little stuff here looks like filler. Someone's done a previous repair on. So I think the plan of attack here is going to be to dig all this stuff out and figure out how bad it doesn't feel too bad up there, but figure out how bad the rust extends and cut out all of the affected metal and see what we're left with, and then start to rebuild it either with bits and pieces off another car or out of fresh metal. I've got a feeling it might be fresh metal because just of the extent of it. But yeah, it's pretty nasty. Yeah, all this looks okay along here, a little bit there, but I think that's about the extent of it. Get a torch. In here is rusty, but this bit might be okay. Obviously it's a lot worse over here. That's all filler. It's a big piece of bog. Somebody's put in there in the past to try and fix this. No. Yeah, this is... it's pretty rubbish. I just stabbed here. This is all rubbish. So there's actually 3 pieces here that are no good and all need replacing. There's this inner section here. There's the outer section that you see on the outside of the car, which is this piece from here to here, there to there. And then there's this piece that goes here. That's part of the wheel tub. And then to complicate things, that's the fuel filler neck just there and the fuel tanks on the other side of it. So down here, this is a union where the 3 pieces of metal meet. You've got this piece down here, this outer piece and this inner piece. They all meet there, and then you've got that seam that runs along the bottom, which is the 2 inner and outer skin welded together. So I need to cut out all this inner section. I need to cut out this section in there, and then make up 3 separate pieces. An inner section, weld that in, that section in there, weld that in, and then the outer skin, weld that in. So started digging away here, and as is the case sometimes with these things, the deeper you dig, the worse it gets. So this is the fuel tank here. This is the hose, the filler hose that runs from the fuel tank through this inner panel, so effectively from under the car, and then to inside the car, and then up there to the fuel filler flap. So there's a hose here that runs along and passes through this panel, and there's a grommet here. This is all bad, all up here, and so that's the wheel tub, the inner wheel tub there. So to get this all fixed, I'm gonna have to pull this hose and try and remake. This is good here, but it's bad from sort of here onwards. So I'd remake this section. But so the plan of attack's going to be get this hose out of the way and just keep cutting it back until I get rid of all the rusty stuff and land on good metal. Back here, this is the outer skin. You see I've cut a lot away here. This is all good now. So this piece here I'll treat with like a rust converter. It's just got some surface rust on there and whatnot, but I'll give this a treatment, give all this a treatment, and then this will be fine to make up a new piece to weld on there for the inner structure. So yeah, basically what's going to happen now is a lot of the work's going to be just about doing the stuff that you're not going to see from the outside of the car, but it's the structure for all this. So build all this, get it in there, and then eventually we'll put a new skin on the outside. So I've cut a bunch out. This is the inner wheel tub. I've ground off a lot of the, well, most of the sound deadening style stuff that's on there to protect the thing from dirt and water and whatnot. The outside's good, as before, it's all cut out. The inside as well, the inner wheel, the inner piece here. So you can see the round thing up here is where the fuel hose was supposed to go through. So I'll remake a piece that goes in from here and across, and I'll have that hole there for the fuel filler hose. But at right now we need to convert all this good metal here that's just got a little bit of surface rust on it, and up in there, and all up here, before we go getting new metal and welding it in, need to convert that stuff to kill the rust. So this is the product I like. It's Rain-X Rust Buster. You don't mix it or anything. I just pour it into a pressure packed lid like this, and then paint it on. So yeah, just put a bit in there like that. Got a little paintbrush here and be painting it on. Works really well. So I'll bring you back and show you what it does to the rusty metal. Rust Buster's on. It's working its magic. We'll give it some time, but you can already see what it does is it does some sort of a chemical reaction that converts metal that's got a surface rust on it, and it neutralizes that, and it leaves just a black raw metal finish. So I'll give that some time to dry off. Might give this a bit of a sweep and start making up some bits and pieces for it. Yeah, so while the rust converter's doing its magic, I've made up this template here out of paper for the inner wheel tub. So we're going to get that cut out of metal and start bashing it into shape. So I now need to make a piece to go here on the inner. So this is not very technical, but it works for me. Basically, piece of paper, figure out the shape, and cut it out. So a new piece of metal's in, hasn't been welded in yet or tacked, it's just literally sitting there. You can see the fold I've just added to it along the bottom there, which is going to catch the outer piece once that's been made up and fitted in. So this is the stuff I like to use. It's a no primer, one step, rust inhibiting top coat, satin black. So just, as they say, apply this stuff very liberally. Alright, so that's a new wheel tub in there, welded up, and it's got a coat of paint on it. And then the inner the inner rear quarters in, welded up, and it's got a coat on it as well. It's all joined in over there. And then next, once this all dries, make up a new skin, weld it on to the outside. That should be this, and then it'll just be filler work over the top of it. So that'll be next. So I've made up this piece, this template here out of paper, cut it out to shape, and it should be this final patch for the outside skin. It's just going to cut it out of flat sheet metal, then I'll need to roll it to get the profile, and then weld it up and so I've cut it out and got its rough shape, just bending it there in the vise, and you can see it's defined. You can see the lines. Like it's not too bad, but in order to smooth that out, stick it here in the English wheel. And the idea is that this is a domed surface and a flat surface, and rubbing it backwards and forwards, it's got a clamping pressure, and it's going to smooth out some of these marks, hopefully. Not a tool I've used too much of, but I don't know if you can tell, but that's a smooth curve now. And that before, it was very much jutted. So I guess now we'll go fit it up and then trim it and just work on the curve a bit more to get it to, so it's going to fit the car nicely. I've been fiddling around with this, trimming bits and pieces off it and just getting it right. As a result of the work in the English wheel, it's built a bit of a crown this way, which is not bad because this has got a slight crown in it as well. I've got a bit more on this, but it's okay. It's not too much. But when I fit this up, like there's little gaps, but it's not bad. I'll be able to tack that in for sure and work with it. So this has come up nice. And so weld it in. Oh, that's it. Wheel tub's done. Saw the inner panel before. This new outer panel's welded in. Just spent ages cleaning up the welds. This whole seam here is low, which is ideal. Give it a coat of filler just along where the welds were. Up here, down there, and then just smooth it out and prime it. So this side's now done. So it's over onto the other side. That'll be the next video. So thanks very much for watching. Cheers.